12-year-old Haruki was the happiest boy in the neighborhood when his parents brought his grandfather, Kenji, to live with them. Kenji was a very old man, and he had recently lost his wife. His strength was waning, and so he needed someone to keep a close eye on him. Haruki and Kenji had been best of friends ever since the day Kenji laid his eyes on his grandson. They shared so many things in common, and so it was always a joy to watch the two together. However, their reunion was short-lived as Haruki, who was a student in a faraway boarding school, returned back to school, and that's when hell broke loose on Kenji. You see, the idea of living with Kenji wasn't a welcome idea to Haruki's mom. For no apparent reason, she despised her father-in-law so much, and she only saw him as a piece of garbage. Owing to the fact that she came from a very wealthy family, her influential status in the house was always felt. She influenced Haruki's dad into showing hatred towards his own dad, Kenji. And because Haruki's dad was the kind that would sheepishly do anything just to please his wife, he agreed. Soon, the couple started mistreating the old man in any way imaginable. Without caring about his frail condition, they told him that he had to work in order for him to get food. So, poor Kenji became their houseboy. Every morning, Haruki's mom would leave endless chores for him to complete by evening. Failure to that, the old man would sleep hungry. If he failed to complete his chores for 2 consecutive days, Kenji would be thrown out of the house, and he would spend the night out in the cold floor of the outdoor bathroom, whereby if he was lucky, he would eat the dog's leftovers. And as if that wasn't cruel enough, Haruki's dad conspired with his wife, and together they would collect Kenji's pension and use it to attend expensive dates. In short, Kenji had become a slave in his own son's house. So one day, after schools closed for the holidays, Haruki came home and he was shocked to see the state of his grandfather. His parents had gone for a 3-day vacation, and so the house was locked, and Kenji was lying on a bench outside the house. He looked worse than a starved dog. His eyes looked watery and were deeply sunken in his skull, his cheeks had caved in, creating a depression that was enough to carry water, his back was heavily bent, and you could literally count his now visible ribs. He tried to smile and raise up from the bench so he could receive his grandson, but his energy levels failed him. Haruki couldn't contain his tears as he hugged his grandpa for minutes on end. Haruki's parents weren't home when he arrived, and so using a spare key he had, he opened the house and served food and milk to his grandpa until he was full. When his energy was restored, Haruki asked his grandfather what had become of him since he left for school, but Kenji, not being one to ruin Haruki's relationship with his parents, declined to tell him, and so he just brushed off the topic. However, Haruki's mind was left with more questions than answers, and so he decided to find out by himself. It didn't take long before Haruki's parents returned from their trip. Not remembering that their son had closed school for the holidays, they were shocked to find the house door ajar. They got inside the house and found Kenji sound asleep on the couch. Haruki's mom gave him a hot slap on his belly that sent the old man groaning in pain. She had just started scolding him, asking him how he got inside the house, when Haruki, who was preparing more food for his grandfather in the kitchen, walked in. Haruki had just missed by a whisker to see what his mom had done to Kenji, but he could tell something wasn't right. Putting on an act like no other, Haruki's parents suddenly became the best version of themselves as they ran to hug their son. They even had the audacity to invite Kenji to come over and join in the hug. Haruki sensed the hypocrisy in his parents' behavior, but he decided to play it down. That evening during supper, Haruki's mom prepared a very delicious meal, and everyone was served food in some expensive Japanese glass plates. However, as Kenji tried to draw his plate closer to him, it slipped and fell on the hard floor, breaking it into several pieces. At this point, Haruki's mom lost her cool, and she scolded old Kenji like a little kid. Haruki tried to calm his mom, but to no avail. On the other hand, Haruki's dad was just sitting there sheepishly as he let his wife hurl bitter insults on his poor dad. Kenji tried to apologize, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. When she was done with the insults, Haruki's mom went to the store, picked an old wooden plate, came and swept the food that had spilled on the floor, and then gave it to poor Kenji to eat. At this point, Haruki couldn't take it anymore and he went to his room crying and locked himself from the inside. The next day, his parents tried to knock on his door, but he couldn't open it. They could hear some commotions inside his room, but they couldn't tell what he was doing. After hours of trying to persuade him, it reached a point where his mom got emotional, and she started crying, begging her son to open the door for them. Finally, Haruki opened the door, and his parents were shocked to see blood oozing from several cuts that were on his palms. In a frightened tone, his parents asked him what had happened, and Haruki replied, "You see the blood on my palms, Mom? I was busy curving some wooden plates for the two of you to use when you get old, so you won't have to drop my expensive glass plates just like Grandpa did. I saw how cruel you've been treating Grandpa, and I want to assure you that when you get old, and you come to live with me, I will treat you in a manner worse than you've been doing to Grandpa. You've always told me that I should always respect you as my parents, but yet you can't respect Grandpa, who is a parent to both of you? I'm even ashamed of calling you my parents. Dad, if you can stand and watch Mom mistreat your own father, just imagine what I will do to you when you get old." And with that said, Haruki slammed the door and went back to his room to get some sleep.